Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stop Being Sold, a community of informed consumers who are sick and tired of being sold financial products they don't understand or need. So if you're tired of being a transaction, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you never miss another video from us. How are you today, Brian?
Hey, doing great, Michelle. How about yourself?
Really good. Today's video is exciting. I'm excited for this one. We're talking about compounded interest and how it may benefit your investments. I know the power of, I've seen it go both ways. The power of compounding in general. And so I think this is a really timely and important video. So.
Yes, it is. Michelle, you're right. It can go both directions. Today's video, we're going to discuss what compound interest is and how it benefits your investments. Also, stay tuned for a video on how compound interest works against you in relation to your debts. So stay tuned for that one.
All right. So let's dive in. What's the definition of compounded interest?
Okay. So the true definition of compound interest, or compounding interest, sometimes called, is the interest you earn on your original investment, called your principal, right? Plus all the interest that is earned on the accumulated interest on that principal investment. Albert Einstein says compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe and calls it the eighth wonder of the world. This can go back decades, Michelle, back to the Roman Empire. They were teaching compounded interest with rocks, stones, and coins, and this, that, and the other. So it's
also not decades, millennia. It goes way back, like just a few years ago. A few years ago during the Roman Empire. Sorry.
But compound interest, Michelle, simply explained, is when you earn interest on both the money you saved and the interest you earned. An easy way to remember what compound interest is interest on top of interest.
Right. Exactly.
Over. Sometimes this is called the snowball effect. You've heard this before in the debt world, right? But it's also in compounding interest. Your ability to build wealth over time is compared to a snowball rolling down a hill. It increases in size at a faster and faster rate over time. Time works, and that's the key to make this truly work.
Absolutely. Time plus consistency equals wealth. Someone I know very well taught me that. So yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about how it works, like mathematically. Let's do some numbers.
Sure. Okay. So here's how compound interest works simply. Let's say, first of all, you deposit, let's say $1,000 into your investment account. After year one, let's say you earned 5% interest or $50. Your account's now $1,050, right? So now it's year two. You earn another 5%, but you don't earn $50 in interest. You earn $52.50 in interest. Why? You have now earned compound interest, which is interest on your principal and interest on the interest earned. Again, compound interest is interest on top of interest. And it just keeps going from there.
Okay. So we've talked about what it is and how it works. How does it work with investments?
Okay. Virtually the same way. Again, over the long term, compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. Here's how it allows you to create wealth. Let's say your investments compound annually. In the later part of this video, we'll talk about other compound interest schedules. Okay. But for now, let's just say it does it annually. And let's say you want to build a long-term investment for your retirement, and you can put in $100 a month. And let's say over time, you earn an average of 6%. Okay. So after 5 years of putting in $100 a month, Michelle, you've deposited $6,000 into this account. Your account value now is $6,764.51 due to the compound interest.
Right.
But let's go deeper. Let's go 10 years from now. You've put in $12,000 and your account value is $15,816.95. Go even further, 20 years, you've deposited $24,000. Your account value is now $44,142.71.
Right.
And we've included a link below this video, Michelle, of a compound interest calculator.
I love these things.
Try it yourself. This is on investor.gov, and you can play around with all the different numbers on there. And I like this one because it's more true to investments than anything else. So
got it. Okay. Yeah, and you can see that. I mean, you put in, you start year 5, you deposited 6,000, doing what is it, 100 a month, right?
Right, $100 a month.
At the end of year 20, you've got 44,000 plus when you've only put in 24,000. That's the beauty of it. Yes, eighth one.
Yeah, and that's only $100 a month, Michelle. Imagine if you were doing that over time and you was able to max out like a Roth IRA of $6,000 a year.
Right.
That's $500 a month. So this could exponentially grow your wealth. And this is how wealth is truly created.
Right. Again, time plus consistency.
Yeah.
And a little compounding.
Always.
All right. So what are the different types of compounded interest or compounding interest schedules?
Okay. And
you mentioned earlier, some of them compound annually, some are, I have one now that compounds weekly. Right.
Yeah. So here's the most simple ones. It can be done at virtually any interval. It just depends on the type of program it is. So from daily to annually, depending on what is being compounded. Okay, so let's take a savings account, money market accounts. They're compounded daily. Certificates of deposits could be daily. They could be monthly, quarterly, semi-annually. But the most common one that we see is like monthly compounding schedules on a credit card and loans, like a home mortgage and personal and business loans.
Right.
So, a lot of different schedules, all depends, but what you see on most investments, Michelle, is an annual basis.
Okay. All right. Got it. So we've talked about, one of the biggest advantage, obviously the advantage of compounding interest is that it's the ability to earn interest on your accumulated interest over time, right? So your money can grow faster for you over time. Is there a disadvantage at all?
Sure. And to me, the biggest disadvantage is compound interest working against you.
Well, yeah.
And to me, that's on the debt side. Think of, we know how much money banks and credit card companies and financial institutions make, right? Where do they make the majority of their debt? It ain't on the investments. No. It's more on the debt. Debt. You buy a stock today. Michelle, if you go to the stock market and buy a stock, are you actually buying a stock or what are you buying?
I'm not buying a stock.
Well, if you bought a stock, let's say you went and bought 1 share of Apple. What is that to you?
Well, that's a chance to make some money.
It's a chance to make money, but do you realize that you're buying the debt of the company?
Oh.
They sell the stock to you.
Got it.
Why? So they can use the money for their capital, increase their earnings, this, that, and the other. But you're buying debt is what you're doing. You're buying the debt of a company. You don't buy it of private companies. You buy it on the stock market.
Right.
So debt is where it's made at. They can calculate the interest before you make a payment. Think of the credit card companies. Before you make that payment, you get your statement, right? Michelle, your payment's due on the 29th. Well, they've already calculated the interest for you for the month, right?
Right.
And if we just make the minimum payment,
you'll never get anywhere.
You never get anywhere. Yeah. You're stuck in the debt, the snowball effect of the debt cycle.
Of the negative side of compounding. So real quick, we did a video, if you're watching this, we'll put the link above and also below on whether you should focus on paying off debt or saving for retirement first. And I highly recommend you check out that video because we do cover some of this, but a lot more in that video and talk about strategies and how to take advantage of compounding interest on the positive side of things rather than the negative, and how to get rid of that debt as fast as possible.
This is great too. Honestly, I absolutely love this. We use this all the time. In the future videos, we'll go into some of the compounding ways to quickly calculate your returns. If you want to double your money,
Right.
you know, one of the biggest things we use is the rule of 72. You'll see that in a future video. And we'll go into how that actually works and how simple it is in your head to learn how you can compound your interest over time.
Right.
But,
you know, I'll say this, the calculator, the investor.gov that we have below, play with that. When I was trying to get myself out of debt and trying to save for retirement, then I was like, oh, I want a new sofa. I want this. I want that. I would go play with something. I would go play with a compounding interest calculator and say, okay, wait a minute. If I don't buy these new dishes or whatever it is I thought I needed at the time, right? And I've learned, that put in an extra $100 or pay off an extra 100 on the minimum, and you can see where, I mean, you can get so much farther, so much faster, and
that's
play
a
with
great
that.
Example.
Yeah.
I like that.
Especially, you know, for example, for me, I was $1,000. This is years ago. I was $1,000 away from maxing out my IRA for that fiscal year. And I had until April 15th. It's like March 30th, you know, here we go. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and do something else with this money. And I pulled out this calculator. I'm like, wait a second, that $1,000 now, 10, 20 years from now, like it's a no brainer. Just max it out. So, I mean, it worked for me. So anyway, thank you for explaining all this to us. If you liked the content of this video, hit that like button. We'd appreciate it. So it lets us know that you like this content, but also so others can find this content as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video from us. Thanks, Brian. And thank you.
You're very welcome.
Everyone. Thanks for everyone who's watching.
Thanks.